G'day guys, it's Tim here. So just thought I'd jump on. I'm in the Qantas Lounge at the moment. I'm going to be boarding a flight back to Perth. Had an event here in Melbourne last night with Infinite Wealth. Got another event in Perth tonight, and then I've got to hop on a plane again in the morning, bright and early. Fly to Sydney for the final episode on Thursday night, and also for the live show that's going to be on. Been getting like heaps and heaps of messages of support. I'm blown away. Like my phone and my Facebook and Insta and Twitter and all that kind of stuff has been going into meltdown, which is great. And, the messages of support are just amazing. I thought I'd just give a bit of a review of the episode last night and even discuss a little bit. I'm really excited about the episode that's going to be coming on tonight. I mean, last night they showed the first 2 days, which was really just, for me it was just really trying to, survive, find somewhere to eat, sleep, get water, possibly get food, that kind of stuff. It's by the look of it, tonight's episode will be where I actually start meeting a lot of the people that I met on the street, and that was probably the part that was really hard because connecting with these other people and hearing their stories and finding out what they're dealing with was really the part that impacted me the most. Look, clearly it was tough sleeping on the streets, but I knew worst case scenario it was going to be 10 days and I'd get to go home. So I knew I could fight my way through that. But the thing that really caught me off guard, I guess, was when I was meeting people and hearing their stories. But just talk a little bit about last night's episode. It's kind of really hard for me to watch as well because it was 2 days. The episode was an hour. You take out ads and all that kind of stuff, and then it's 5 people as well, and so that probably it was those 2 days and maybe compacted down into all of about maybe 6 or 8 minutes or something along those lines. So there was so much stuff that happened in those first 2 days, but primarily for me, I kicked into survival mode first of all, and I just wanted to, like I said, find somewhere safe and sheltered and to sleep, which is where I got into that apartment building that was under construction. And a lot of people, may have had questions about, the interaction that we had with the crew. I mean, clearly they needed the crew there to be able to record it all. But the crew weren't able to talk to us. Often they were at quite a distance, with the big cameras, obviously they can zoom in and things like that. They didn't enter the building that I was staying in. Look, ultimately I knew, I wasn't going to get attacked, or if worst case scenario I was, people would be there, but I wasn't talking to anyone. They weren't standing near me, they weren't giving me anything or anything along those lines, but I was pretty happy with the place that I found that first night, and there was a 24-hour McDonald's around the corner as well, so that's where I was getting water and going to the toilet when I woke up in the morning. And then, for me, the next thing that I did was when I woke up the next morning, and I was pretty sore and very cold, obviously, the next morning when I woke up, but I was like, all right, well, I'm going to head into the CBD. I thought that would be a better place to be, and there'd be more, services or food, or I didn't really know what to do. I just thought, man, I'm out in Fitzroy, I better head towards the CBD. On my way in towards the CBD, I actually went, g'day Jace, how are you, mate? Went past, I think it's St Vincent's Hospital. I'm not that familiar, but it was a hospital. So I went into the hospital and went into the emergency room, and there was a triage nurse there that I spoke with, and I just sort of said, look, last night, I'm homeless. Last night was the first night that I spent on the streets. I don't know, is there anything you can tell me? Is there anything you can do to help me? And she provided me with a booklet. I think it's called the Helping Out booklet. G'day Dave, thanks for joining, mate. A booklet called Helping Out. So it's this booklet that they have in Victoria that's got all the support services for homeless people. But this was a Sunday morning, and most of those services weren't open. Thanks for the like, mate. And hey Bens, how are you? Welcome. Probably pretty early in the morning for you guys over there. Oh, hang on, I can't even tell the time. So what is it, 9? Oh yeah, it's 9:10, alright, so most of you guys are probably just started work or something like that. So then what she did was she did some Googling. Like, I was, once again, I started tearing up again because, this woman, she's at her job doing work, and there's nothing she can really do to help me, but she did everything she could. She was Googling what sort of support services and where I can get food, and she printed out all this stuff and let me know that there was a place in St Kilda that was actually doing food that first morning. So I went out of the hospital, jumped on the tram, committed my next crime. Obviously trespass was the first crime that I committed. But then also jumping on the tram, I was fare evading as well. So jumped on the tram, caught that down to St Kilda, where there was, it's like part of a church, but they kind of put on breakfast. So went in there and I sat and spoke with, there was a guy that actually, kind of came up to me and sort of asked me, what's all the deal with the cameras following me around, and he was pretty helpful. So, he told me about where he was staying and I could come and stay down there with him. He was a really nice guy, but I was also pretty uncertain because he started telling me about how the government had implanted chips in his spine, and they were all in collusion with his ex-partner, and things like that. Clearly, the guy has obviously been through a lot. I think he'd been in a pretty major car accident as well, and clearly experiencing, some pretty severe mental health issues, which, I really, really appreciated his generosity, but I also thought it was probably not that wise to maybe spend a lot of time with him. So after that, I was like, all right, well, have some breakfast. What am I going to do now? And I thought, I guess this is still where I'm in survival mode. I'll head into the CBD, and I know that they've got the tourist centre there. So if I go to the tourist centre, of course, I was wondering about whether I'd get kicked out, or something along those lines. These are the things I imagine that homeless people worry about. Can they go into normal areas without, being harassed or, being asked to leave? So I went into the tourist centre and got a map. So, that kind of combined with, so I had the map and then the booklet, and I was able to then start figuring out where all those support services were. And then, I went up to the Queen Victoria Market, like it showed in the documentary, and I thought, of course, I guess being entrepreneurial in business and maybe a bit naive, my thought was, I'll be able to sort this out, I'll be able to go and get a job and earn some money, and, I don't know, maybe I thought I'd prove some people wrong or something along those lines, but as you saw, it absolutely did not go to plan. At first I was working through while the markets were on, and it was super busy, and none of the stall holders really even wanted to talk to me because they're busy dealing with their customers, which I can understand. So I thought, all right, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll go back. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it, mate. Just the comments and the likes coming through. Thanks, guys. So I thought I'll go back at the end of the day when they're packing up. They won't have their customers. I'm sure, people packing up their stalls. Maybe, if I can help them get out 15 minutes earlier, that would be worth something to them, and maybe they'd be willing to pay me some money, or they'd be willing to give me some food or something along those lines. But as you saw, it just didn't work out that way, and. Like I explained, I can understand it. I've been the same, being approached by homeless people, and you kind of just brush it off, and you don't kind of want to deal with it, or, you don't really think about it. But then, I went and I thought, all right, I'll go and get some food, and went to the food court there, and, I was asking for food, and people were like, no, we haven't got anything, and then this one lady's like, oh, yeah, we've got wraps, they're like, I don't know, they were discounted or something like that, they're like $3 or $4. And I was like, look, I just don't have any money. And she's like, look, here, just take it. It's funny. It still gets me a little bit emotional thinking about it now. But that generosity. Like I said, it only took, really probably took nothing for her. It didn't cost her anything. It only took her, 30 seconds of the time, and that made a really big difference. It was the first time I'd eaten in. It was more than 24 hours. And that just immediately moved me, that generosity. And one of the things they didn't show is the wrap had tomato in it. And those of you that know me know that I absolutely hate tomato, and I don't eat it. But I gladly ate it on that day. I did have a bit of a laugh to myself as well, thinking that if Jo got to see the footage of me eating tomato in a wrap, then she would absolutely flip out. So that was that. Then I decided, all right, I'll head back to my, my cozy little apartment complex where I was kind of under shelter and, close to water and, and all that kind of stuff, and headed back there. Thought I'd get set up. Oh, that's right, the lady at the hospital had told me, how important it is to have cardboard, and thanks, Amy, appreciate it. And I didn't realise, I thought the cardboard was like a comfort thing, it's a bit of padding for you to lie down on the concrete. But what the triage nurse had told me is that cardboard is actually insulation, and if you sleep on the concrete, because the concrete is so cold, it sucks your body heat out, and that's why a lot of people develop a lot of health issues, and not only a lot of health issues, but also get really, really sick, and you can start to see towards the end of the episode there, I had a little bit of a cold or a little bit of a flu when I started, and it really started to kick in over those next couple of days. You can hear like how nasally and I guess blocked up I am, and maybe that first night sleeping on the concrete really had an impact. So so went back. I thought I'd look through the apartment building that was under construction, and as I did that, I went into areas. Hey Sheree. I went into areas that I hadn't been into before, and that's when I set the alarm off. So quickly and casually grabbed my gear and walked away. I thought maybe just a security car would come or something like that, but very quickly arrived. There was four cop cars. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe the amount of resources, like they would put into an alarm going off. And not only did they kind of check things out, they were there for ages. I mean, you can kind of see it. It's gone from being light to kind of going to darkness. So that really messed things up, and that left me really in a lot of uncertainty. I had this safe place that I thought was pretty protected and away from the main streets, and now it's like, man, that's that option gone. I'm gonna have to, and it's getting to night again. Like, I'm gonna have to find somewhere else to sleep. So I was walking around the CBD, and I came across my spot, which is where you saw me hold down for the second night. I was pretty scared about being there. I thought it was a really good spot. It was protected from the wind, like the road kind of, there's a gradient down, but there was kind of a step in that little doorway, so that kind of, as water ran past me because it was raining, I didn't get wet. Where the street light was, it was blocked just across my face, so it was dark across my face, easy to sleep. And that became, I stayed there for the next couple of nights, and that really became my spot. It actually it felt like home, and I don't mean my home, but it became my place, and I felt very protective of it. I felt safe there, and I really didn't want to leave when they moved us on a bit later on. But like I said, I think this first couple of days really was just about me surviving. I'm really looking forward to the next episode, because I'll start to meet people and start to really hear their stories, and that was the part that impacted me the most. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm probably going to go and get on my flight anyway. So, but thanks a lot, guys, for watching, and thanks for watching the episode, and thanks for all your messages of support. Tune in tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'll probably get on tomorrow or tonight and give you my thoughts about how that went. Thanks a lot, guys. I'll speak to you soon.